Hello everyone. Welcome to the channel dedicated to exploring the path to inner peace. In today's video, we will delve into the concept of selfishness and its impact on our lives. Selfish means wanting to know the meaning of oneself and wanting to understand oneself. What is wrong with a person who wants to understand their own meaning? When we call someone selfish, it means exactly that. That person wants to understand their own meaning. So how did they become wrong in the eyes of the world? In the eyes of society, it is understood from a different perspective. Often, we see many people around us who appear very good by nature, meaning they help everyone and treat everyone well. But along with this, we have also seen that such people, who have good qualities by nature and help others, remain more unhappy, while those who are selfish prosper and succeed. So, it is certain to criticize the power of the Supreme Being. But if this is true, then which path should we follow? Do we also become like others? I don't know how many of you believe that good people suffer a lot in life. But what is the truth behind it? If we don't know the truth behind it, if we don't recognize it, then somewhere our subconscious mind will also lean towards negativity. That's why it is important to fully understand this fact before drawing any conclusions so that in the future, you can avoid regret and sorrow after becoming a good person. In today's story that I am going to tell you, you will discover 5 ways through which if you practice, you will not only perform good deeds but also be free from suffering. Before we dive into this intriguing story, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our future content. By subscribing, you become part of our community dedicated to seeking harmony and blissful well-being. Now, let's begin the story. In a village, there lived a young man named Anand. He had a complete family, 2 children and his wife. But his parents passed away, leaving this world, so the responsibility of the entire family fell on his shoulders. Children used to study, and his wife took care of household chores along with selling milk from cows and goats. They ran their own home, and Anand worked hard by breaking stones in the mountains. It was a difficult job, and he would work all day and return home exhausted in the evening. However, despite working so hard, if anyone in the village called Anand for help, he never refused. His principle in life was that if I help others, God will be with me, and He will not let anything bad happen to me. Anand followed this principle with great determination. He believed so strongly in this principle that if an outsider asked him for help, he would leave his own work unfinished and assist the person. Anand's wife often tried to make him understand because he would frequently go to help others, which would cause a lot of distress to his wife. She would say, "First, focus on your own work and take care of our family. We have 2 children, and yet you are always involved in others' tasks." She would complain, "Take care of our own home. Your own home is not being managed properly, but you're busy helping others." And when such things reached Anand's ears, a thorn would prick his heart, and it would lead to arguments and fights between them. This was often the biggest cause of their fights. But neither could Anand change himself, nor did his wife stop trying to make him understand. This is why their home was filled with trouble every day, according to the village folks' talk. They knew Anand's nature, and intentionally or unintentionally, they would create situations that required his help. Purposely, even if the work was easier for them, they would call Anand because they would not need to put in more effort. It means that the people of the village took advantage of Anand's simplicity and benefited from his kindness. They would mock him from behind and call him foolish. In such situations, one day Anand's wife fell seriously ill. Anand did everything he could to serve her. He called the village doctor to examine his wife, but the illness was beyond the doctor's understanding. Then Ved, the sage, suggested, "Take your wife to the city and show her to a renowned healer. It might save her life. Hurry and make arrangements to reach the city quickly, or else your wife's life will be in danger." While Anand was lost in his thoughts, the ground beneath his feet slipped. He didn't realize that his wife was in a critical condition. He was thinking that it might be a simple illness that could be treated, but when he heard Ved's words, now, how could he take his wife to the city when he didn't have enough money to afford a horse-drawn carriage or a vehicle? His wife's condition was so critical that she couldn't even walk. To reach the city, he needed a horse-drawn carriage. Fortunately, his neighbor Dhanu had a horse-drawn carriage. Dhanu often used it for his business purposes, transporting goods to the city. In Anand's mind, an idea struck. I can borrow Dhanu's horse-drawn carriage. I help Dhanu so much with his work, he never refuses my requests. That's why I can get the horse-drawn carriage from Dhanu. Anand reached Dhanu's place to borrow the horse-drawn carriage, but Dhanu was a very clever person. He never let anyone use his horse-drawn carriage without charging a fee, not even his close relatives. So, it was a distant possibility for Anand to borrow the horse-drawn carriage from him. When Anand approached Dhanu about the horse-drawn carriage, Dhanu gave a vague excuse, saying that his horse was very sick and might not even survive. It had not eaten anything for the past 5 days. In such a situation, how could the poor horse carry the carriage all the way to the city? Yes, if you arrange some money, then from my friend I can try to arrange a horse carriage for you. Anand was worried and distressed because he didn't have any money. It meant that his wife wouldn't be able to reach Vad's place for treatment in the big city. Anand was lost in troubling thoughts. As Anand was returning, he witnessed a heartbreaking scene. He saw a young man from the village, who according to Dhanu, was taking care of Dhanu's sick horse and hadn't eaten anything either. This same young man was now opening the stable and bringing out the horse to harness it to the carriage. Upon seeing this, Anand was initially puzzled, but then when Anand asked the young man, he explained that Dhanu had rented the horse-drawn carriage to him. Upon hearing this, Anand's heart broke. He had never imagined that his best friend Dhanu would do such a thing to him. However, he didn't have time to dwell on his sorrow. So, Anand quickly returned from there and went to a wealthy businessman in the village. He borrowed some money from him and gave it to Dhanu. Dhanu arranged for his friend's horse-drawn carriage. After that, he took his wife to the city to see the doctor. As his wife's treatment was underway, Anand thought about the day when Dhanu's daughter fell ill and Dhanu wasn't around. He spent the whole night sitting at Vad's place for his service. Dhanu hadn't come for so many days. At that time, I was the one who took care of his family. How unfortunate it is that after all I did for him, he refused to lend me a horse-drawn carriage, especially when my wife was playing with life and death. A while later, Ved came outside and gave Anand some very bad news. He told Anand that his wife had been diagnosed with cancer, and there was no cure. She only had a limited amount of time left. Upon hearing this, Anand became sorrowful and sat down on the ground. His entire world seemed to crumble, and he couldn't see any way out. His wife eventually passed away, and now the responsibility of both children fell on his shoulders. But here, all of Anand's beliefs were shattered, and all his illusions were gone. Now, he had only one thing on his mind: to do good deeds. Doing good deeds doesn't guarantee the support of the Supreme Being. Instead, it's the wicked who prosper. This thought often lingered in his mind, and it was the reason he slowly became detached. He distanced himself from the country and the world, and one day came when he left his children with his relatives and set out from home to become a monk. He didn't tell anyone in the village, and no one knew where Anand had suddenly disappeared to take up the path of renunciation. He reached a Buddhist monk after wandering for a long time and found him deeply engrossed in meditation. After the monk emerged from his deep state of meditation, he looked closely at Anand's face and asked him about his reason for becoming a monk. In response, Anand shared his entire life story and mentioned that he didn't achieve anything in this world and had become detached from it. He had become detached from this world because even his friends didn't support him. If his friends didn't stand by him, then what's the point of being in this world? This realization led him to aspire to become a monk. After hearing this, many monks started giving him teachings. They said, remember, by becoming detached from the materialistic life and becoming a monk, you can never attain ultimate bliss and reach supreme happiness. You have become detached from the world by carrying the burden of your ego, but you cannot reach the ultimate bliss. You have not become detached from the world to seek the divine, so never remain in this illusion of the world. You have become detached because you think the world has deceived you. Don't stay in this delusion. You haven't become detached to seek the divine. You think that the world has betrayed you, and because of this, you won't be able to have faith in the divine and make it your complete devotion. That's why even being a monk won't benefit you. You won't be able to reap the full benefits of being a monk. The true benefit of being a monk is obtained when we have complete faith in our Lord, the Supreme Being. Our faith becomes complete in the Supreme Being. I asked them if their faith is in the divine. Upon hearing this, Anand says, I have come to realize that those who perform evil deeds enjoy life, and those who do good, the Lord doesn't give anything to him, divine only inflicts pain upon them. That's why how can I have complete faith in the divine? Upon hearing this, the monk says, this is it. This is what I am trying to explain. If you put all your energy into the monk's life and even after that if you don't receive any fruitful benefits, then how will you feel? That's why I am telling you these 5 principles of helping others. Understanding these principles, return to the world and live a fulfilled worldly life. Only after that, the life of a monk emerges. When we fully understand our worldly life and fulfill our responsibilities, that's when the dawn of the monk's life arises. Upon saying this, the monk begins to explain that whenever you cooperate with someone, or help someone, the first and foremost principle to keep in mind is that you should never expect anything in return. If you help someone today, then in return, they will also help me. If you think like this, you will have to face difficulties in life. Because if not one person, then another, and if not the second, then someone else will break your expectations. You will have to face sorrows in life because if not one, then another, and if not the second, then the third, someone or the other will make you face difficulties. Your expectations will surely be shattered, and in reality, that help or assistance does not exist. It is just a form of our greed. We are not selflessly providing help or assistance. Our mind is filled with the desire for something in return. Our mind is filled with the expectation of receiving something in return. We help with the thought that if I help this person, then tomorrow they will help me. This is the lure of greed within us. We help others with the expectation that they will help us in return. This greed compels us to help those people who are wealthy in some form. We think that tomorrow this person can help us through their wealth, and that's why we feel obliged to help them. There may be a need for help in reality, even if it is from a poor person, but our mind, being under the influence of greed, will never help them. That's why expanding your thoughts of helping someone and assisting someone. Don't limit your help or assistance to a specific category or group. It should be equal for everyone. Just think about it. On one hand, you have a friend who has wealth and possessions, and on the other hand, a poor woman is sitting hungry. Your friend tells you, hey, why don't you order some delicious food from the market today? And on the other side, that woman is asking you for 2 pieces of bread. So, whom will you help? Who deserves the help first? Our duty becomes to satisfy the hunger of that woman first, but often people don't think like that. They will provide a feast for their friend and buy expensive items from the market for them, but they won't consider helping a poor person and won't give money or wealth to alleviate her hunger. Another thing to keep in mind is that when we help someone, we should do it selflessly. Never associate our selfishness or greed with the act of helping someone. Often, when we help someone, our greed and self-interest are intertwined, and we make plans for our own future by assisting them. We think that if we help this person now, then this person will help us in the future. But that assistance, that help, does not reach the doors of the divine, because it is greed, evident to you. We are deceiving ourselves by using our greed as a form of help or assistance. The third thing which needs to be remembered is that be mindful of helping others according to your capabilities. Never a person should provide someone with so much help that his own family and children have to endure hardships. People prioritize helping others and pay less attention to their own families, which leads to conflicts and fights within the family. These things happen every day and we witness them in society. The next thing to consider is that we should fulfill our duties and responsibilities first before helping others. Our actions and responsibilities should be fulfilled first. We should not abandon our duties and responsibilities in order to help others. We should not rush to help others before fulfilling our own obligations. And when the other person doesn't reciprocate our help, it saddens our hearts. We think that we left our own work aside to help that person, and now they are not helping us in return. It hurts our hearts. We think that we left our own work aside to help that person, and now they are not helping us in return. That's why our actions should be prioritized, as they are meant for reducing our own burdens. Our actions should be prioritized because they are meant for reducing our own burdens. Our actions should be the highest priority because they determine the course of our lives. Understanding this is important. In this world, we are born according to the will of the divine, and ultimately, we need to understand that everything happens according to the divine's will. It is our duty to keep performing our actions, and the final outcome is in the hands of a higher power. That's why whatever happens, leave it to a higher power. If someone betrays you, understand that it is the doing of a higher power. You should accept that everything is in the hands of a higher power. You say, I don't do it, I am just a medium. The one who makes things happen is the higher power. In front of divine's will things move. When this faith, this belief, takes root in our minds, all our complaints fade away. Because in this world, whatever happens, happens for the good. Whatever is happening is for the good, and whatever will happen will also be good. Even if our intellect doesn't comprehend this principle in the present moment, in life, at some point, you will surely realize that what happened was for the best. So let go of all complaints, just keep doing your actions, and fulfill your busy life. Endure it gracefully, and only then can one lead a renunciant's life. After that, the monk told Anand, go back to your village, bring back your daughters, educate them. Remarry if you want, but take care of your children properly. Upon hearing this, Anand returned to his village with his daughters. No one in the village knew where Anand had gone and what he had gained. He returned with knowledge, but the next morning, the villagers saw a different glow of happiness on Anand's face. Dear viewer, we would love to hear your thoughts on today's story. Please share your feedback in the comments section below. If you found this video enjoyable, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our future content. We look forward to bringing you more engaging stories in the next video. Until then, take care and stay blissful.